I was the itch girl. Nope, I don't want anything else. I'm just going to scratch because that feels the best. And that obviously did not go well for me. So many months this year, I stayed at home and it was not like me. I'm a social butterfly. It was really hard to be like a hermit and not only be a hermit, but an uncomfortable hermit, an uncomfortable, grumpy hermit. So that moment for me was just like, fireworks, like just I've cried. I've cried because it's so nice to be able to appreciate the little things again.
Today we have the lovely Amy Becker, and I am so excited to chat with you today. Amy has come so incredibly far, and she's going to dive into it all today. So, Amy was taking prednisone for an extended period of time, thinking there's no hope. And if anybody has been on a drug like that, it's a pretty intense one. So she went from all that skepticism to months and months on prednisone to then finding this program being her savior. So she has an incredible journey, an incredible story. And with that, I'm so excited to chat with you. So, Amy, let's go back to the beginning before you came across the Love Your Skin program. What was your life like and your symptoms?
So I ended up getting a job where I was able to work from home full time. And it happened to be right before everything hit the fan. I'm so grateful to have had a job working from home because I was in a physical state that was so uncomfortable to leave my house. I was only leaving my house to go to doctor's appointments or to pick up prescriptions or to go to the drugstore and get something over the counter that I needed to try. And when I say needed to try, I have a closet full of all the different things I tried over the counter and prescriptions. So I was seeing a dermatologist, an allergist, a rheumatologist. I even went as far as to open up to my gynecologist about what was going on because I wasn't getting like the proper help from my allergist and my dermatologist. And don't get me wrong, they did all the testing, like the protocol testing, but nothing was coming back as far as like a root cause. And they wanted to just have me take dupixent. And it got so bad where I took trips to the emergency room at night because like nothing would help. And it's hard to get prednisone long term, but it was the only thing that would help me. And so I was like, I cannot live this life anymore. And so, like you said, I was skeptical at first. Well, I found the program on Instagram and I was desperately searching for people who were posting about their stories or ways to help or doctors come on and talk about it too. And I was just so desperate and I came across Alicia and the program and I was kind of like, well, I haven't seen anything like this before in all the research. And so it hooked me right away. And of course, I did some research on her and I looked all into the program. I watched all the videos and I was like, I need to know more about this. And I had my interviews to enter into the program. And after speaking with the individuals that I spoke with in the program, it was just like, I knew I was in the right place. And here I am.
That's so amazing. It sounds like you really had that gut feeling, and probably because you had tried going down that conventional route, which a lot of people do with eczema, and oftentimes are just not met with the right solutions that they need to heal their skin. Like you said, conventional medicine doesn't really look at the root cause. It's more, here's something helpful for you to work with your symptoms and kind of suppress that inflammation, which is helpful. But unfortunately, it just keeps coming back. So you mentioned seeing your allergist and other doctors too, which it's helpful to do those tests and figure out what's happening here because that can contribute. But ultimately, you were looking for the root cause. And I can imagine it was so hard for you having to go to the emergency room just for your skin and then giving out prednisone long term is it's not something that is really done. So your inflammation would have had to have been quite severe to be in that kind of loop of constantly taking prednisone. And was it helping a little bit and then you would flare and then you would take it again? What was the process with the prednisone for you?
Yeah, so once I found out that it worked, and I didn't know much about it, so I had to learn. And once I learned about it, I felt guilty taking it even just for one day. So it was like a mental thing too, where it's I knew how bad it was for me to take, and so but in the same breath, it was the only thing that helped me. No topicals or prescription were helping me, no matter how strong the steroid was. And I was treated for all types of things too, so that this all took like all this time to try all these things. And so when I found the prednisone, it was like, okay, let me just take this and try to figure out what else to do. But because I was going insane, I was really having mental challenges. So,
Definitely. Oh, and that's so tough. And I'm sure there's lots of people listening who can relate to that as well. Especially, I want to touch on the mental side of having eczema. Like a lot of people will look at people with eczema and they just see rashes, but they don't see what's happening internally. And that's often one of the hardest parts about having eczema is the way that you deal with it mentally and emotionally. So that's why these medications can sometimes be really useful when you need that relief and you need that reprieve because you are struggling often more so mentally and emotionally than you are physically, or equally as much as you are physically. So I can imagine that you are in a scary place and but then doing your research and coming across something like this, something new, something you hadn't tried, it sounds like it gave you a little bit of hope.
gave me that and much more. A big
Yeah.
toolbox. I feel like I have a toolbox now, and Love Your Skin gave me all the tools that I have in there. And you just don't know until you learn, until you're in the right place and you learn the right way. You just don't know.
Definitely. I love that. You have a whole toolbox. That's such an amazing analogy, and it's so true. And I want to get into all those tools that you use and that you found and why they were helpful. Before you joined us in the program, did you experience any resistance? Was there hesitancy?
Yeah, so I initially found it and I brought it up to a couple of close family members just to get their thoughts on it. And I showed the page and there's like a first like a 15-minute intro call. And then I think there was like a 30-minute to an hour more like in-depth intro call. And then you make the decision there. And it was like I felt like I was talking to angels, first of all. All of you in this program are just so lovely just to speak to, but also so helpful and teach so many great tools. But yeah, I talked it up and I knew in my heart, and I'm somebody who like opinions do matter to me, especially when it comes to making important decisions in my life. But I knew I had to take this one and run with it. Nobody was paying for it. I was paying for it. I didn't need anybody's approval really. And I was like, you know what? If I get scammed, I'm just gonna write a bad review. Um, but no, I was so sure. I'm telling you, I can be very indecisive with many things. And when I learned enough about the program and had the one-on-ones, it was a wrap for me. I was like, this is it. I don't care what anyone says. I'm in this program, and that is it.
Oh, I'm so happy that you're here. I'm so happy that you listened to that gut feeling and what you said, like no one, it sounds like no one's coming to save me. Like I need to take matters into my own hands. And it's so tricky for people who
Exactly.
tried different things, like many different things, and they haven't worked. Like it can be so hard to invest your time, your money, your energy into something yet again, especially when you've been on medications because you don't really know any other route. So to put your trust in us is incredible. And I'm so grateful because you've had an incredible transformation. So let's get into that piece because I'm very excited to share about that. Tell me about all of your amazing little aha moments and what you were learning in the program.
My first aha moment was before the program even really started for me. Putting all of my health and my whole life into one spreadsheet was like, wow, they're taking a really good look. Like, I was like, I made the right decision. But, there's no doctor that would look into me that carefully and consider all the things I've been through in my life, whether they're on a mental level, a physical level. So that was the first aha moment. And then it was just like aha after aha makes sense. I am I'm spiritual, so I totally believe in mind, body, soul. It's all connected and everything just already made sense to me that way. And then the program kind of takes you that way, like that type of path. So I was like, yeah, this is right. This is exactly right.
To have that trust from the beginning as well is so nice just to understand like you're being your whole being is taken into consideration and taken into account where we don't just start fresh, we want to know what's actually happened leading up to this point, and that is a huge focus in the program, and I want to get into that brain skin connection and soul connection too, because there is often a big link with things that have happened in the past and the reason that they're showing up in the present. But I want to keep hearing about these aha moments. So take us through your journey from the 6 months and feel free to pinpoint all those little milestones that you had along the way where you were like, okay, this process is working. And feel free to also elaborate on some of the low points because it's not a linear journey.
Yeah. So I actually live with my mom, and she has been very supportive through this whole process. And let me tell you, now that my 6 months are done, everybody who I was telling the program to in the beginning and then made my own decision about it, they're all like as grateful for this program as I am. So they are totally supportive, and they love that I'm continuing on with the alumni program, and so am I. And so yeah, more aha moments, especially like some of your calls and being taught how to speak nice to yourself and to your skin. We get in this state where itching is like exactly what it looks like. It's like a nonstop thing wherever it's happening for you, whether it's on your neck or in localized or if it's all over, which for me, it was all over at one point. It was really difficult at times to keep that positive mindset. And I found times where I would go over to my little area where I take my supplements, and I'm looking at all the bottles of them, and I'm just like I have to take these again. And my mom would be in the room next to me, and she's around when I'm on my calls, and she just listens in the background, but she would cut in and be like, you better start talking nice to yourself. You better start talking nice about your supplements. Those are your friends. Those are making you healthy. And she would nudge me there, and yeah, see, you're laughing. So it would bring a smile to my face and also remind me, hey, you got to look at this. Even though it's really hard at times, you have to just follow the process. And that was another thing, is this process will work as long as you put your part into it. So like you guys all come with all these great things, but let me tell you, anybody joining this program, you have to bring your all. You have to join the calls, you have to document, you have to put the effort in, you have to get your mental set, even if it's just for a little bit at a time. Like you really have to come with it. And I promise you, if you do, you will come out on the other side better. I've seen it, even just being in the calls with others. Those were other aha moments. Oh my God, I'm not the only one going through this. And oh my gosh, she might have it worse than I do. And I thought I had it the worst. And that's not like a good thing, because you feel terrible for anyone that you're on the calls with, because you can relate, and you are just like, oh my gosh, like there's actually a big community of us, which is crazy because like you said earlier, you feel so alone. You feel like it's really hard to get support when somebody does not understand the constant of what you're dealing with your body.
Yeah. I want to circle back to what you said about putting in the effort, putting in the work, because yeah, the program will work for you if you work for yourself and show up and do the work. And to do things to get a result that you've never had before requires change, right? It requires doing things that you have never done. And that can be really tricky. And that's why there is so much support in the program to help people do that. But and you do have to want it. And like you said, it's so important to touch on those days when you're just like, I don't want to do it today. I'm frustrated. I'm having a low day. But then recognizing, like, acknowledging that that's so important. And then recognizing, okay, wait, how am I speaking to myself? How am I speaking about this journey? Obviously, me being the mindset coach, that's a huge part that I focus on. That was a huge part of my own healing journey, was just being conscious of those thoughts and how they might affect my emotions and the actions. And that is just I know that that's such a big piece for you that allowed you to then show up and do that work, which is incredible because you really put that work in and you had such an amazing transformation. Talk to us a little bit more about the coming off of the prednisone and what that was like for you, because I know that wasn't just black and white. Like that was challenging for you in the program.
Yeah, so that was like, besides what I was going through with my skin, like that was the other half. That was another very heavy thing for me. And I'm pretty sure I brought it to Petrula on every single call. Yeah, I'm still taking the prednisone, and not beating myself up about it, but just being down about it and a little bit worried about it. And she just always made it sound like it's not bad, it's okay. Like this is just where you are for right now, and it helps you for right now. And we're doing other things to work on your body and your health. So we're going to figure this out. And so she ended up coming up with this amazing plan for me. It was this like long-term reducing plan. But she wrote out, when I tell you there was like a whole plan, like line after line, and every line was like a certain number of days and how much to take and how often to take within those days. And so I followed it. And from the beginning, I followed it to a T because I'm in a state where I really need it and I need to make sure that I am taking it so that it can continue to help me. And week after week after week. And at the same time, I'm taking my supplements, I'm drinking my smoothies, I'm eating different foods for medicine, and I'm making it to the classes, and it's everything just started to just happen. And then it was like, I got to a day where I was like, oh my God, mom, did I take it today? Like, it was just like not a thought. And I was like, okay, I'm at a point in the plan that she made for me where I didn't have that much left, like from where I was looking at it. And I was just like, and Petrula also told me, she's don't be so strict on yourself. If you miss a day, you miss a day. If you need to take double up that day. It's not a big deal. Don't make it a big deal. And that was like the best advice she could have given me because I was making it a big deal and I needed to just let it happen and I needed to just trust the process. And after that, I haven't taken it since.
Oh, that is so exciting. I'm so happy for you because just like that's an achievement to come off of something like that and not have a massive rebound flare. Like some people will experience that, but I have no doubt that that's because you invested so heavily into your mindset and consistency. That is basically what you were speaking to, like coming to the calls, drinking your smoothies, taking your supplements, being kind to yourself. Like you said, if you follow the process works. And that's what allowed you to come off of prednisone and just be off of it and to have that aha moment like, wait, did I take it today? Like I didn't, nothing happened. Like I'm healing. What was that experience like?
Was an excitement I had not felt in a really long time. So many months this year, I stayed at home and it was not like me. I'm a social butterfly. I have friends all over. I'm always hopping around, hanging out, and I'm also a family girl and I'm always like showing up. It was really hard to be like a hermit and not only be a hermit, but an uncomfortable hermit, an uncomfortable, grumpy hermit. So that moment for me was just like fireworks, like just I've cried. I've cried because it's so nice to be able to appreciate the little things again that just were so overlooked during the time I was going through this.
100%. I just got goosebumps because the significance of that, like being able to pull a win out of something that was so challenging and you're in a place in your life where you didn't think you'd ever break free from that, from the rashes, from the medications, to then like shedding happy tears of I've done it. That's absolutely amazing. And I think so many people can also relate to the uncomfortable, grumpy hermit thing with eczema. But you don't have to remain that uncomfortable, grumpy hermit forever. Like
Yeah.
there is hope and you're so proof of that. Would you say that the prednisone piece was the turning point for you when you came off of it and you realized that I just did this? I'm free.
Absolutely. I knew it was coming. I just didn't know when. And so it was just like an alignment, it felt also, where I was in this routine of making sure I took it and everything. And then as I started to feel better, like I subconsciously just started living my life again. And then I was like, oh my God, I'm not taking it anymore. And I've had breakouts since, like here and there. So life's not completely perfect after. And I don't want to make it seem it's all rainbows and sunshines, but it is a whole different life. And I have come out on the other side so much healthier. Another win is I quit smoking nicotine. I quit smoking nicotine with the motivation from this program. And that's huge because I was smoking since I was 15. So another major win.
Major win. And this program will produce more of those wins that are outside of skin, leaning into the team of experts, leaning into that personalized support, leaning into the community, and really just being consistent is what allows for these other amazing wins to come through. Like quitting smoking is huge. And would you say that the reason that you were able to do that was because you were leaning into, we call them the pillars in the program, really leaning into those routines, like you mentioned, and coming to the calls? What was that kind of catalyst for helping you quit smoking? Because that's huge.
Yeah, it was a mixture of everything in the program. Like the program made me want to be a better person. It made me want to do better. And then as I felt more better, if that makes sense, I said it before, I was not ready to let you guys go after 6 months. I was like, I know there's more work to do in my body, even though I'm feeling great. This is not something that happens overnight. And I know I still need to be here. But yeah, no, quitting the smoking, it was like it was also a little bit of desperation. I had to really filter what am I putting inside my body. And the program taught me, educated me a lot about ways to think and even to just think about that. Because in the beginning, it was like I used like a vape where I could be inside somewhere and smoke it. And so I was doing it in the bathroom, in the living room, in my loft, taking my dog for a walk. And it was like a stress thing. My skin's bothering me and I would just smoke it a lot. And then it was kind of like, whoa, let's hold on here. And I just really had to look at everything I was putting in my body, especially I had to come to Petrula and make her proud of me. So again, the program was just very motivating.
Yeah, it is so nice to have that space that's holding you accountable, like having your
Yes.
practitioner to work with you and having the community, having your coach, and just being able to be like, hey, guess what? Like, I haven't used prednisone, I haven't vaped in 5 days. Like, being able to also just track your progress and your wins and celebrate that, like, it is so motivating. And I'm just so proud of you. Like, you've put in some incredible, incredible work. And you mentioned the stress piece with the vaping. I know, well, across the board, stress is big for everybody. Was stress a part of your picture, and what were some of the tools that, because you mentioned that in the beginning, the tools in your toolbox. I would love to know about some of those tools and what they were useful for and how they helped you.
Yeah, so mostly mindset stuff, like just reminders to be nice to yourself. There was even one time, and I should probably do this again. I took like a dry erase marker and I wrote on my mirror in the bathroom just some random like words or phrases that would just like subconsciously be read every day when I'm in there. Just you're beautiful, be kind to yourself, love your skin, no matter what it looks like, no matter what it feels like, stuff like that. And other tools are my supplements. Gosh, those supplements have been definitely playing a huge role. And of course, Petrula, who tells me which ones to order and how to take them and when to take them. And even just like documenting, I feel like everybody should keep a food diary every now and then just to kind of like see how different foods are affecting you and your sleep schedule and like everything that we document for you guys to analyze every protocol has been just it's all been, oh, and just like physical ways to actually deal with a flare up. Like I was the itch girl. I was the nope, I don't want anything else. I'm just going to scratch because that feels the best. And that obviously did not work out well for me. So learning how to deal with the flare ups in the moment, like using ice packs and not itching it and the cold showers and things like that, those are all tools that I will have with me forever and ever.
Definitely. Yeah, keep them in your toolbox, and it's so accurate. The itching, the like, oh, I remember one time, I know Alicia has shared this before, but she said if somebody offered me $1 million to stop scratching when you're in that like deep in the scratch, like the cycle, she's like, I wouldn't be able to stop. And it's
It's
so true.
unreal.
It's like addicting. You literally
Yeah,
get addicted to it. In the program, we call it the itch scratch cycle, and it literally
yeah.
it sets you off on that cycle, and it's hard to break free from it. And one of the biggest things we do in the program too for this piece, and I know this was important for you, but it's also just like paying attention to, okay, what's coming up for me right now? Am I hungry? Am I overwhelmed? Am I stressed? Do I just need to go and grab an ice pack? Am I caught up in that loop right now? So that's a hard one to break free from. So I'm happy that you touched on the tools that were helpful for you because yeah, you can break free from the itch scratch cycle, the habitual itch. It's a real thing and you've done it. So
Yeah.
congratulations.
Thank you.
Is there anything else, Amy, that you want to share on your time in the program and what was impactful and valuable for you?
I just can't say enough about each and every one of you who took part in helping me along the way. And anybody I didn't get to directly talk to, I am so confident they are as wonderful as you all have been. I feel like I definitely got out a lot here, but just sending positive vibes to anybody watching this right now. And if you're here in the program, then you are in the right place. And I know, Mandy, we've also talked about how time is like a huge thing where it's you come into the program and you just are like, when is it going to start working? Does it work day one? Like, where are we? Are we there yet on day two? But you really have to trust the process and give it time because what we have going on in our bodies when we find this program, it's a lot to take care of, and it's just not going to happen overnight. I had thyroid, I had major vitamin deficiencies, I had mold toxicity, a little bit of heavy metals, I had the GI map and had a few different things come up on there. So it's like where to
Yeah.
begin?
There's a lot going on with you, so much going on, and it's actually incredible how far you've come in 6 months. Like that is wild for having all of those root causes. And I know that that's because you had so much belief and you really dove into the program. Some incredible words of wisdom. Time absolutely is the biggest healer, and it can be one of the harder things to really lean into. A lot of people come into the program and they're like, okay, on the 6 month mark, I'm going to walk out of here and not have any eczema. But it is absolutely a process and it does take time. And it is so important to just lean into that and trust it and just put one foot in front of the other exactly like you did. And it is just such a helpful, valuable reminder. So thank you for sharing that. Tell us now how your life has changed. What's your skin like?
Yeah, so like I said, I still deal with a little bit of flare-ups here and there. Sometimes it's just the material of clothing I'm wearing. Sometimes it's too hot of a shower or something like that. But I am working out again. So I've been able to step outside of wearing 100% cotton a little bit. I'm not going too crazy with it, but working out was really important to me. And it was really hard for me to get into that with my skin the way it was because of sweating and elasticity and those types of clothing that you work out in and things like that. And lack of motivation, of course, because I was just not in a good place. But I've been able to step back into the dating scene. I have been able to hang out with my friends again. I am present at family functions again. It's not, oh, where's Amy? Where's Amy? Because that was hard for me too. People would reach out and want to be supportive, but I didn't really want to talk about it with everybody. And not because I was ashamed of it, but just I got so tired of explaining it to people who just couldn't understand it like I could. And so that got really difficult. But to be able to drive in my car and roll the window down with a song on that I love and enjoy that moment again is like one of those little things I was talking about earlier. It's just like to walk outside and just smell the fresh air. It's just, my goodness, was I in a rough spot and look at what I did.
Amazing. I'm like speechless after that because,
Oh,
well, it's so true. When you're really in the depths of having really severe eczema and even just waiting for your turning point when you're healing, it is crazy how much you realize on the other side of that, whoa, I was not present. And this is really hard. And to have those little joys, like I can roll the windows down and feel the wind on my skin without being itchy. I can wear these clothes. Like that's incredible to have. Just that's an incredible place to be. I'm so happy for you, truly.
thank you.
You deserve
Thank you.
every ounce of where you're at now. So I'm
Oh,
so happy for you. And it's
thank
thank
you.
you for highlighting just the reality. Like sometimes I get flares, but really important also, I want to circle back to that and highlight that the reason for them now, like my shower was too hot. Maybe this type of clothing just does not agree with my skin, and you can bring your flare back down. Talk to us about what happens when you do notice a flare, what happens in your head, and then what are the tools that you use to bring that flare back down?
So I get a little bit of worry at first because all of those old feelings just start rushing back. Oh my God, is this the start of something like really bad? But then it's just like rewinds and then it's, wait, no, you have a toolbox now. Like, what tool are you going to use today, Amy? And so, yeah, it's like a little bit of a thought process. And then once you get your mind to the right spot, you're like, okay, let me grab what I need to treat this or to stop this. And for me, it's ice packs. Like I even carry in my purse, they have the ones that don't have to be refrigerated. You just punch it and then it like gets cold or something like that. I keep those in my purse now. Let me tell you, they have something for everything. Just Google it.
That's so good. Yeah. Oh, that's incredible to notice like, okay, there's some worry, some anxiety present here. And then wait, no, I have a tool. I know what to do. and then you use the tool and the flare comes back down. And that's because it's so important to also highlight you've addressed the root causes and you're equipped with knowledge and tools that you can use now. So once you have that recipe, like you go in or you start addressing, and I know you're working on addressing your root causes still, but the root causes are a huge part of it. But having the tools and in your toolbox and also just like the experience, you've seen your skin heal, you've seen those flares come back down. Realistically, it's a real thing. It'll happen again. Like I can bring that flare back down on my own. So I love that. I love that you shared that. That's so important. What tool am I going to use today? That's
Yeah.
amazing. Do
Thanks
you
to
want
love your
to?
skin.
Yeah. Oh, you're so welcome. You've just been such a pleasure to work with, and just seeing you show up and be consistent, like that is the recipe, like leaning into the structure of the program and just doing your best and knowing that your best does not look the same every single day, but just doing what you can and really leaning in. So just sending you a massive congratulations because you have put in some amazing effort, and it's amazing that you're here today after 6 months. Like you've come really, really far in a 6 month time from being on prednisone for so long to being here. That's incredible.
Thank you. Thank you
You're
so much,
welcome.
Mandy.
You're so welcome. Amy, do you have any other words of encouragement for people who haven't yet started their journey or who are just now embarking on the journey with Love Your Skin?
Yeah, one day at a time. One day at a time. Do what you can every day to contribute to the program and your health, because this program will take your health to a place you did not even know that was possible. And so if you just take one day at a time, bring all you got. Some days, like Mandy said, aren't going to be your best, but just bring what you have and listen, they do the rest. So
Oh, amazing. Thank you so much, Amy, for being here and just for sharing your story because it is so powerful and you have so many amazing words of wisdom and you just share your story in such an incredible and profound way. So I just want to thank you and wish I could give you the biggest hug. And yeah,
oh,
thank you so much for all your hard work and thanks for being here.
of course, of course.
Thanks, Amy.
Bye.
Oh, that was so good. I just love the way that you talk about your journey. You just sound so real and you can really hear the struggle that you had before and just you're a very different person now. It's incredible.
Thank you. And you know what? What's funny is you say that, like when I was going to add a picture on my practice better, I was like, oh my God, I have no good pictures of me recently. What am I going to, these people are going to think that I look like a weirdo. So I used a different picture. But anyway, I was just like, it was just, I was so not myself when I started this program. And I feel so much more myself now.
I'm so happy. I can see that transformation and I can see how much it means to you. And I've been on this journey too. Like I know how amazing that feels like when you've just come out of it. Like it is the most rewarding feeling, but I'm so glad that you touched on it in the interview. Like you have to show up. But
Yeah.
I'm also just so proud of you for showing up because not everybody shows up. Like it is really hard sometimes to put that one foot in front of the other and show up even on the hard days. So yeah, congrats to you. You've done an amazing job. So inspiring.
Yay. Thank you.